The most successful sporting teams in the world ever.
We're all the best in what we do.
They are killers.
There was an aura about them because they came, they went, they beat everyone.
We don't like losing. Our goal is to be the best team in the world and to win every game we play.
Our players are willing to die for the jersey.
It's life. That's the best way to put it. It is life.
Running out with the All Black jersey on is something you always dream to do, and it's quite hard to describe in words what it's like. You got to pinch yourself and say, it's a pretty special moment to put that jersey on. I think if you're tired of it, it's time to do something else, and to be honest, I can't see that happening for a while yet.
This is a story about a nation's soul. The land of the long white cloud, the land of rugby. What Charles Munro began in 1870 has become a sporting icon, a country's global signature, a shirt that tells 1,000 tales, a lasting marriage. For more than 100 years, a great game has held this island race in thrall. Gripped it from mountain top to suburban pastures, from rugged fields to city streets, from Maori to settler, from bank clerk to farm labourer, from cradle to grave. This is the story of a nation's goal, to rule the world, the rugby world. Rugby and New Zealand, New Zealand and rugby. Is there one without the other? Rugby brings meaning to this nation. What's a New Zealander without the dream of becoming an All Black? What's a man without a soul? Where does this all come from? From places like Ponsonby in Auckland, one of New Zealand's 500 amateur clubs. This is the beginning.
Well, the club's 133 years old. Well, we've got 36 junior teams and we have 12 senior teams, so about 48.
The first time I picked up a rugby ball, like most young New Zealanders, I think was at the age of 5 or so, when you could start at your local rugby club as a tiny tot, I think they called them back then.
My earliest memories, I suppose, are running around the local rugby club where my brother played, and Dad was the coach, and Mum ran the tuck shop there.
Clubs have always formed the cornerstone of the game in this country, the foundation. Well, these kids look like about under 7, they're part of the club.
In New Zealand, it's never too early to begin.
If you came around home and I had one of these in the house, I'll just be sort of juggling it or dropping it on my foot and having little kicks, and it's what I grew up doing. I've had one of these in my hand pretty much most of my life.
I came from a pretty small area in terms of school and opportunities to play sport, and rugby was sort of the main one. I guess I sort of love all sort of sports, but rugby is the only one I was probably any good at.
This is Lovelock Track, named after Jack Lovelock. He's a famous New Zealand runner, and this is where I've been training for the last 20 or so years. My main ingredient in whatever sport I did was I was quick. Whether it was softball, running around the bases, or track running around a track, rugby or rugby league, I always had a jump on those around me. A lot of people down here know me by a name, Dougie the rugby player. Yeah. I get the odd 50-metre sprint race every now and then. Everybody wants to challenge me. That'd be nice. My dad even now comes down and holds a stopwatch for me as I run around this track.
In places like this is where the dream begins, the dream of that jersey. At a place like Ponsonby, it's everywhere. 50 All Blacks have come from this one club, And this one's no slouch either.
There's B.G. Williams. He wasn't a bad player, actually. He wasn't too bad. I tell my sons that he was pretty good.
Brian Williams has worn the jersey.
Brian Williams!
A lethal scorer through the 70s.
No more popular try scorer than Brian Williams.
And for each new generation, there is a black-shirted hero to live up to.
Guys like Michael Jones, I remember pretty well, and obviously he was a bit of a star at that World Cup. I remember another guy that sort of sticks out a bit was John Kirwan, because he scored the try.
John Kirwan!
He ran length of the field against Italy. That's a memory, deeply ingrained in my head, and just because of the way he was running and the amount of people he beat.
It's a standing ovation all around the crowd.
One of my childhood heroes was a guy called Grant Batty, and I can still remember him arriving at the ground at College Rifles, and I was standing at the bottom of the stairs of this huge bus that was so big in those days, and I can still remember him coming down the stairs, and I threw out a bit of paper or just went to touch him, and he turned around and he said, "How you going, little boy?" So that sort of, and I just touched him, and from that moment on, I just dreamt, I suppose, of being an All Black.
Who do you want to play for when you're older?
All Blacks.
Why do you like it?
Good. I'm wearing this. Burn.
Play hard, boys. Train hard.
That's right.
One day that can be you. It's an achievable dream. What does that mean to you?
It means I'm a champion.
I was just like a lot of other young New Zealand males who had that dream right from when they started playing rugby.
As a youngster, you play the game because you love it, and the All Blacks are there. It'd be great to be one, but until you sort of start making those steps, then it becomes clear that there is a path for you.
So to today, and today's heroes.
Hi, I'm Byron Kelleher.
My name's Nick Evans, and as you can see behind me, this is Christmas time for a lot of us.
It's a day of outfitting.
There's quite a bit going on. We've got boots and shoes.
Probably one of the most satisfying and enjoyable days.
Come and follow me around and we'll see what we got.
So we've got to search down here through our bags.
What you got to do first is look for your name.
I've got to look for BK. So we got a training bag. As you can see, it's loaded up with kit, casual pants, casual tops. It's like a kinder candy store, really. Sport little brats. Hey, did you push in? I think you have. Under here we have our #1 shirt.
Obviously, #1s is worn after the game to after-match functions and things like that.
Troy looks like he's got his little brother's top on. I like the Italian way. That sounds good to me.
I've been doing my work because I'm upper-sizing a jacket, so that's always a good thing.
This is your shoe department.
Well, they're a bit different this year, aren't they?
Yep.
Hello.
Yeah, I've got a decision to make here, and it's really complicated. I don't know how ladies do it when they go shopping.
Oh, yeah. Much more comfy.
They have to make special shoes for this guy over here, because he's got abnormal feet. That's probably about halfway.
We'll do the jersey fitting.
This is the new jersey for this year.
I'll try an 8 and see how we go.
They've got the New Zealand emblem, or the fern I should say, down through there. As you can see, they're quite tight. Trying to show you muscles off.
This is probably a crucial part. You get one pair of sunglasses and shoes. They don't look too bad.
See, I wouldn't go for something like that because it's too feminine.
Oh, no, I don't think I like these ones.
I'd say probably these puppies here might be the ones.
Decision made.
They're quite cool, but more masculine. I'll go those ones there, please, mate. Right now, I've got to sign off.
Might see me walking around with a bit of this gear on, and I'll be looking pretty sharp, I hope.
Put some of this gear into use and go and hit the training fields.
So that's Snapper out.
For one of them, though, this is an extra special time.
They're still taken back by it all, definitely pretty nervous.
Brendan Leonard is days away from wearing the jersey for real for the first time.
Got the call and then sort of afterwards didn't really know what to do, I was sort of a bit lost.
Smiling straight at me.
Well, it's pretty unbelievable, really. It's pretty special. It's a dream sort of never really thought it'd come true.
But it is coming true, and soon he will stand out from the crowd.
It's sort of like everyone's life dream, hey?
That is the absolute pinnacle. There's no higher than that.
Oh yeah, like every kid. That's what you aim for.
I have dreamt of wearing All Black jersey.
Who doesn't want to be All Black, eh? Who doesn't?
I've got a son who's desperately dreaming of wearing an All Black jersey.
We all talked about it
and talked about our own great abilities at the little local primary school with about 100 children.
Definitely, yeah, definitely. We'd love to have worn an AB jersey.
When I was younger, playing rugby, I liked to put the silver fern on, but never got to it.
We'll have to lose a few pounds to get into this one.
It's there for the taking, whether you take the challenges on. Yeah. It's up to you.
We've just got to dream about it now. We had a chance earlier on, but we just didn't quite get there.
In over a century, barely 1,000 men have joined this club, and when it happens, it's to be savoured.
Like a million other New Zealand youngsters, I just would have, given my eye tooth to become an All Black, which I eventually did, and that was still go down as, the greatest day of my life when I was selected.
The tradition is to go into the manager's room, and he, one by one, and he gives you the jersey. So I remember getting given it and going and putting it on the bed and sort of having a good look at it, and yeah, sort of ask yourself the questions, whether you're going to do it justice, sort of thing.
For young New Zealanders, when they get to wear that silver fern, it's such a huge sense of pride.
Probably my greatest rugby moment to date was, putting on the All Black jersey for the first time, running out there and playing, for your country.
It's powerful. I mean, I look at that fern and it sort of emotions well up.
My path to the All Blacks was really different. I basically left school, played 5 games, and my 5th game was actually a test match. Reality didn't quite hit me until I ran onto the test pitch, and I basically froze.
My very first touch, and I forget how many seconds it was now. I got a lovely pass off Tana Umaga and run 40 metres to score my first try in the All Black jersey.
20 seconds into your test career and you've got a try.
Yeah, a pretty good memory.
Sitting in the change room afterwards, the tradition is to get presented your test tie. And I remember being given it, and the guy who gave it to me sort of said, "Welcome to the All Black Club." That's when it really hit home that how I can call myself an All Black now.
There's a trinity in New Zealand rugby: the silver fern, the black shirt, and to complete the union, a sporting spectacle all of its own. From the beginning, from the originals of 1905 on through the 1924 Invincibles, the Haka has captivated first Britain, then the rest of the rugby world. But over the years, the Haka wasn't always understood, even among those performing it on foreign fields.
I led the Haka on quite a number of occasions when I was captain, because sometimes there wasn't any Maori boys in the team.
We used to think it was a great ploy, particularly in the colder countries or colder fields, and we'd be that was our warm-up half the time. Our biggest worry, we all had to jump at the end of it. There'd always be photographs of the team jumping at the end, and if you were out of order, missed the jump or anything like that, you got fined at the next court session.
It was a ritual which we enjoyed doing, but we really didn't understand the value of it and what it meant to the Maori people.
This is about a people's roots. The Haka stems from deep within the mists of Maori heritage. And as the desire to understand grew, the All Blacks found the mightiest of Maori warriors to bring it alive.
The Haka traditionally is a challenge. When Māori went to war, they done Haka. We were in Argentina in '85, and we actually practiced it for the first time, because they never used to practice it, you see. And so we actually got them to practice it and getting them in the right stance and using their hands correctly. We started doing it and doing it really well, and the guys loved it. And the meaning behind it, they understood the meaning behind it, the challenge behind it.
It wasn't until the first World Cup in 1987 that the Haka was performed on home soil, and the world has watched it become a
The neck stood up, and you know, it was a pretty awesome experience to do that.
I knew the haka from back to front, but I still got nervous about it, so I kept on practicing it at night while the boys weren't looking.
You got to get into the zone.
It's a chance to really express yourself and to just sort of let everything hang out.
The Māori speak from their eyes as well. They use their tongues.
For me personally, it was about us. It was about our history. It's about our team. And we were going out to war.
It's all about giving it your best. You're actually doing this for your country, your people. It's not just for you.
You're pretty much just looking at your opponent and staring them in the eye and making sure they knows that it's going to be a good battle.
I'd love to be in front of it.
How do you face the haka? The first time it was seen in Australia in 1884, the host complained about scare tactics.
It's an invitation to go into battle. It invigorates me, it gets me going. What they're saying is, we're going to come and play, are you guys ready for it? And you're either ready or you're not.
We actually had a meeting about what shall we do during the haka, and such preposterous theories as, well, shall we go behind our own post? Shall we turn our backs? Shall we take our tracksuits off? Shall we... Blah, blah, blah. Well, the only thing wasn't actually suggested was, shall we do what Morris does? You know, I just said, look, I don't care what you do. I want to face this. But what does it say? Oh, I'm not, you know, I don't want to face you. I don't want to... You know, you look people in the eye and you simply say, right, one of us is going to fall. Might be me, might be you. I think it's going to be you. But you look them square.
I was head of the Lions, and we decided we would form an arrowhead with all my teammates coming off me, and I was eyeballing Inga the winger, as he's called, and his eyes were popping out in stalks as they do, and they never blink and their eyes are there, and I'm really concentrating, and he's doing all this stuff, and eventually he jumps up at the end, and when he came back down he gave me a wink. At the end of the day, it's all nonsense. They shouldn't be allowed to do it in this day and age, and they shouldn't. It gives them an unfair advantage.
Gavin's got his own ideas about it, but so he doesn't have to watch it. He could do what Campo used to do, go and play down the end of the field by himself.
David Campese used to go and run around his own goal area. I mean, you know, that's just Campo's a bit weird, really.
I just kicked the ball up and the haka was going on. I mean, that was my preparation for the game.
For me personally, it's fine. He's not insulting us and being disrespectful.
There's nothing in the book that says you have to watch it.
If you're intimidated by a challenge like that, then don't step on the field.
In 1989 at Lansdowne Road, the Irish pushed it to the limit.
I wish I'd done the Willie Anderson thing where they all came forward. That was great. I thought it was going to all kick off and marvellous.
You know, what we did that day was a bit of history.
Willie done that, he came right up to me in that game and we eyeballed each other.
They sort of strode towards arm in arm, the All Blacks, and I think he was face to face with Buck Shelford.
The crowd were all on their feet. They just could not believe this was happening.
What's he doing? He's coming up. Jesus, man, get in there and, you know, go for it.
Some people thought, you know, like, Sheevers, what's happening here? You know, what's going on here?
It was brilliant.
He come right up and he right in my face, and I thought it was great. I thought it was a great challenge.
The idea was, psychologically, why should, you know, a side coming to Ireland to play on Lansdowne Road, our pitch, and get the first applause by doing a dance?
He played really well that day, but they still lost.
And that's how most All Black stories end, in a New Zealand victory. For facing these 15 men in black is the toughest of tests.
The ultimate measurement is wearing your national team's jumper, playing against the All Blacks in a test match.
There's never an easy game against the Blacks. You knew if you played, you're going to absolutely cop from every angle, every player. They're just possessed when they get that black jersey on.
When you go in the New Zealand stadium, you really feel a special atmosphere. Like it's like, you know, a ring, you know, and you feel, oh, if we're not ready, we can be hurt.
The All Blacks have a winning record against every single rugby nation. So if you play the All Blacks, you will be on the wrong end of a hiding at some stage.
My worst was definitely Wellington in 1999 before the World Cup. We were thinking that we could beat that team, but after 10 minutes, I think that was 25-0 for New Zealand.
It is an atmosphere which is really all-encompassing. There is nowhere to hide when you're there. If you're doing well, it's fine. If you're not doing well, then it's pretty oppressive.
There was a lot of bad moments, but I won't talk about those.
They just do a job. They do the professional job no matter who's in front of them. And if it happens to be that they're 20 or 30 points better, then they will be. And if it's 40 or 50, then it's the same again.
I think 88, when JK in the first test, I think he ran around me twice, scored 2 tries.
Straight sprint, and he left Campese behind.
I think that was the worst series I've ever had in rugby.
There are players, and very good players, of my generation who have never beaten the All Blacks.
But some do. Take the French in the 1999 Rugby World Cup.
Playing New Zealand in Twickenham in '99 in the semi-final was like running close to a horse and somebody says to you, you're going to arrive before the horse. Nobody believed really in our chances, even us, I think.
As the game moved into the second half, the All Blacks led by 14 points. The World Cup final was beckoning. And then this, a stirring.
Lomu's on, chips over and through it. Dort is there for the try.
On that day, I think we grabbed the opportunity.
France scored 26 unanswered points. The All Blacks were stunned. This wasn't supposed to happen.
Wilson's got a hell of a lot to do. He hasn't done it. Bernard Sell has surely won this game for France.
It was a moment of magic.
France have beaten the All Blacks, the biggest upset in the whole of Rugby World Cup history.
As an All Black, losing's hard to stomach.
I seem to believe that every All Black team in the past has won every single test match. So we look through history of All Black rugby with rose-tinted glasses. We don't like losing.
You ask any New Zealander when the last loss the All Blacks had, and they'd come up with it straight away, you know. And you know, there's a few glaring ones that they'd bring up: 99 World Cup, 2003 World Cup.
Mortlock! And the Wallabies have just smothered New Zealand out of this game.
It's hard for me to have a loss, very hard.
People get a bit gloomy when they don't win, yeah.
We'll probably sulk for a good couple of days.
Replay some of the old matches.
We're like chicks when they lose a boyfriend, you know, sit down with chocolate, with a soppy movie.
I have to sit down sometimes and evaluate what happened and think, why did we lose?
It's wrong, I know, but that's just the way we are, yeah.
If we lose any test match, this country goes into mourning. For example, the radio, you will get taught back for hour after hour, dissecting every second of every match, what went wrong, who did what, who should be sacked.
When we got beaten, you not only let the All Blacks down, but you let New Zealand down. And, you know, the taxi drivers or they didn't want to talk to you either.
Not many days that go by that I don't think about the World Cup in '95.
Stransky, he's having the drop kick. Heartache and heartbreak. What a shattering blow.
Yeah, I can always remember Jim Bolger, our Prime Minister, during the time I was captain, saying, you know, Sean, when the All Blacks win, I'd love to be the All Black captain, and when they lose, I'd much rather be the Prime Minister of New Zealand.
Putting aside what perhaps the rest of the country thinks, it's hard to take as a player for the All Blacks, because, you know, it's something you never want to do. You know, you back yourself to go out and win every game, perform, and when you don't, it's pretty disappointing.
But beware a wounded All Black.
People say to me, what's the most memorable game you had for the All Blacks? Without question, 1993 when we lost to the Lions in Wellington. I played the worst game of my All Black career.
One down. The British Lions simply had to snatch a victory from the second test to keep the series alive.
The All Blacks have lost it. Guscott, now Underwood. He's away. He's a flyer. They'll never stop him. Not this time. Great try.
The second test win, the Lions in '93, was a very good performance.
And that was the biggest defeat that we'd ever inflicted on the New Zealanders.
And the referee blows his whistle. The Lions beating the All Blacks by 20 points to 7.
I can still remember going back into the change room after that and saying, make a mental note of the way you feel now, because make sure you never want to come back here again.
The whole of the British and Irish press are saying the series is just about won, and they're saying, no, it's not. You know, you don't understand, again, the mentality. When these guys are down, they have an even greater resolve to pick themselves up, and they'll just come at us 10 times harder.
A man who knows his foe. Sure enough, haunted by defeat and hounded by an angry nation, the All Blacks and their captain came back stronger.
This is belted up stuff from the All Blacks now. Joseph, they must score here, do they, through Fitzpatrick? Yes! Sean Fitzpatrick, after all the disappointment of Athletic Park, comes up with a try. whistle from Patrick Robin, and the All Blacks have won the series.
I made sure that every other game I played for the All Blacks, I remember that game. So I wouldn't have to go back to that disappointment of the failure that we had on that day in Wellington.
So Fitzpatrick carried off a Lions shirt, while Moore got what so many want.
I do have a New Zealand shirt. Yeah, I've got one of Sean's shirts. It's proudly in the garden shed, actually.
The black shirt is something special. As soon as I played against the All Blacks, the only goal that I wanted is to have one at my home.
I've got one All Black jersey, and it's the first All Black I played against, Blair Larson, and it's in my study, and it takes pride place.
Before you swap your All Black jersey, think, does he deserve it? Because it's such a special jersey. Never sell your All Black jersey, because it's something that you've worked so hard to get.
It was the 1905 originals, mightily led by Dave Gallagher, who were first tagged the All Blacks. These pioneers thrilled Britain, as did the Invincibles of 1924, each great side reinventing rugby in its birthplace. And ever since, great names, great men, giving their all for the black shirt, ready to put their bodies on the line, whatever it takes, all in the cause of the Silver Fern.
And the crowd are just going wild. Tremendous try.
And few put themselves through more than a young man from South Auckland. In 1995, a rugby novice arrived in South Africa for the World Cup. Jonah Lomu was about to turn the rugby world upside down.
Very humble, modest young man who just happened to be, you know, one of the greatest forces that God ever put breath into.
He came from nowhere and just kind of landed on the planet.
Rugby had never seen the like. A 19-stone, 6'5" flyer who could cover 100 metres in 10.8 seconds.
When I turned up to that tournament, the only thing that was in my head was play well for New Zealand and time to measure myself against the best in the world.
He was so much bigger and faster and stronger than anyone that you'd ever played rugby against.
He's the only rugby player I've ever seen who made me laugh when he played, because he was so impossibly big and so impossibly fast, and he would make confetti out of people.
My great All Black memory would be Jonah Lomu.
Big boy. Steamroller. Good old Jonah Lomu. Against England. He just ran over them.
Mowing down the old English rose.
Like a tennis ball underneath a herd of wildebeest.
Running over people.
That English dude that he ran over, crunched right over the top of them.
Yeah, that try.
England had been warned what to expect come the semi-final, but did it make any difference?
This is the big man, Lomu. He's still on his feet. Lomu could score. That's a great try for New Zealand.
That is the only game I've ever played in where after only 20 minutes you knew you weren't going to win.
I have an idea of the game, but during that game, it was almost like a blur.
Lomu is through.
Obviously he was a powerful runner, but you'd thought, well, maybe the teams aren't quite as good, maybe the defences aren't quite as good, maybe, you know, we're a better team and therefore we can cope with that, and we were wrong.
Here's another chance for the big man. He's going to score in the corner.
It was almost like I didn't care about myself.
It was a crushing experience, not as crushing for me as Mike Catt and Tony Underwood, because I didn't get under the hooves of Mr. Lomu.
Can Lomu get past Michael Catt? The statistics say he's going to score his 4th try.
It became a mindset in terms of get the ball, score the try, or clear a rut, make a tackle, as if your life depended on it.
I never missed a tackle on Jonah Lomu, ever. That's because I never got anywhere near him.
At that stage, Laurie could have told me to run into a brick wall and I would have.
Jonah Lomu was now a superstar, rugby's first. But he played for the game he loved. And for a time, he was unstoppable. But he was mortal. A rare and debilitating kidney disease wore down the giant, despite his huge efforts to keep playing the game.
As much as I struggled with it and I was dying through it, I had a dream. And I was willing to live it. By me going a little bit further, pushing my body beyond what it was capable at the time, it just made me that much stronger through the game. And I just knew that if I did that, on the day I could match anybody out there.
Here comes a try for the Lomu man.
When you talk about being high on something and being addicted to something, score a try for the All Blacks representing New Zealand, ultimate high you could ever find anywhere.
But that high was becoming harder to reach. The disease was taking its toll. In 2003, one of his kidneys collapsed. A year later, he underwent a transplant. 3 years on, and Lomu's back on track. Back at his old school, still devoted to the game that made him, and still adored.
It's humbling. Hopefully, these guys, take being here and talking to a lot of them. I could see a little bit of myself in a lot of them. They have dreams that they want to live.
Jonah's own dreams may have faded, but the memories will never disappear.
What does it mean to be an All Black? Personally, as myself, it's life. That's the best way to put it. It is life.
He will always go down as one of the landmark players in the history of the game.
The ultimate goal to anybody is playing for your country. But what I found is that if you can play the game, play it. The people who play it, they play it because they love it. And that's what I have for the game. And I still have it now.
Who from today's cast will follow Jonah Lomu's giant footsteps into All Black legend? There are no sure things. But then again...
Dan Carter.
Dan Carter.
Dan Carter.
Dan Carter.
Dan Carter.
I want to be like Daniel Carter.
Dan Carter's special. That's been obvious from the start. Here's a man made for the black shirt.
Right now, Dan Carter would be the pick. Complete package.
Exceptional. With a capital X.
Give me a Dan Carter kick.
Since his Test debut in 2003, Carter has sparkled, invented and accumulated over 600 points and more tries than any other All Black number 10. Here's a man auditioning for greatness.
Keep myself all nice and relaxed, couple of deep breaths.
Dan Carter was a typical New Zealand kid.
Looking at the target.
Rugby, morning, noon and night.
Then into my run-up.
But he did have one advantage.
Catch that.
Well, when Daniel was having his 8th birthday, he decided that the only thing he wanted for his birthday was rugby goalpost. We used to spend so much time kicking the ball over the house, and we had a bit of a problem there with breaking things, so we thought, well, time to get some goalposts out here.
Most days after school, I'd be out here having kicks. If I wasn't out here having kicks by myself, then I'd round up all my mates and we'd be having games of rugby, for hours after school. I don't know, when I was a young fella, I used to be able to drop the ball over from about here, I think. I'd spend hours out here kicking from in front, from behind that garden, behind over on that lawn over there, just everywhere, and just mixing up and having the time of my life.
All round, he's the best rugby player I've ever seen.
Dan Carter is potentially the best player in the world at the moment.
Maybe 2 or 3 times in a game, he will do something that's beyond the means of a lot of other players.
He's big, but not like massive like these guys, but he's just clever.
Can do it with a kick, can do it with a try, can do it with a tackle, can do it with a pass. And there isn't a great deal more, is there?
Everyone wants to get a piece of Dan Carter. He's all things to all men, women and children. A marketing man's dream. And it's all because of what he does on the pitch.
I have pretty high standards of where I want to be and where I want to get to. I've gotten to where I am now because of all the hard work that I put on the training field. I'm enjoying what I'm doing, and I realise I have to put in the yards if I'm going to reap the rewards at the other end.
Into the gap goes Carter! Daniel Carter!
As a player, that's what you love about the game. Your chance to show the crowd, the world, whoever's watching, exactly what you're capable of. That pressure and nerves is something that I really thrive upon. If you get that kick under a pressured situation, then there's nothing better. Bit nervous, to tell you the truth.
And there's no greater pressure than in the garden.
Just relax, like you've been taught, you'll be right.
With Dad looking on.
Ooh, yeah, I'm pretty close to winning that wager,
I don't know, mate.
Yeah, 50-50's down the middle, I'll give it to you.
Cheers, mate, I'll pick up that 20 later.
I get nervous, and when he's kicking, I don't watch. I meditate.
I think you must owe me for a few gatherings now.
Mate.
And the downpipes.
Dad would probably say I Learned all my kicking traits outside. I thought you'd forget about that by now.
No way, that cost me a fortune.
My mother's probly got a different opinion of that.
That gut on there used to be replaced every year.
Once. Put a couple of dints in a couple of the walls, chasing my sister around the house.
Oh, watch out.
You can see my left foot. If she beat me to that door, then I'd soon chase her along the hallway to, the bathroom door. So there's another hole.
You're going to kick it from here, that's still well over 60 metres.
Oh, I'll give it a go.
Here we go.
Yep.
Fair way.
There's a bit of room there, champ.
Not a bad effort, not a bad effort.
This is where we edit and have the ball fly through the middle. I'm an All Black, but you know, I'm not satisfied with just being an All Black. I want to be, what they call an All Black great. You know, someone that that people will remember, in years to come.
Practice makes perfect, you know that.
Dad generally knows best.
Not anymore. The old trees have grown too much.
Oh yeah, well you used to be able to kick them from here over on the angle.
Good morning, Radio Sport. We are 24 hours out from the first Test match of the year. Of course, the AB's taking on France. Let's take a look around the weather forecast. New Zealand, top to bottom. Northland, Auckland, Coromandel.
The All Blacks are in town. So there's only one thing on everyone's mind. The Test match.
Up-to-date Radio Sport here. France versus the All Blacks. People are going, how can 4 All Black coaches be wrong? Do we understand enough about the role of the team?
People are obviously passionate about the All Blacks.
Hello, Trevor. We've got one team, and that team has got this aura about it still. If you're an All Black, there is something very special about that.
The All Blacks in the back should have a field day.
Which players are playing their All Black life?
The core and carpet play.
The fervour of it, the religion of it, is still right up there.
He's not going to let you down.
Can he replicate that form? We are absolutely obsessed.
Obsession. There's no other word for it. Back page, front page, airwaves, TV screens, billboards. The All Blacks are everywhere. There is no escape. But obsession means winning is a must.
We've achieved extraordinary success, but unfortunately with that comes expectation.
There's 4 million people now that live in New Zealand, and every one of those people believe they're shareholders in our great organisation, and they expect us to win.
What do you expect?
I expect them to win every time they go out there.
We're the All Blacks, we can't lose.
Every time they go on the field, they wear that jersey, I expect to win.
We expect no more of them than they expect of themselves.
Put the jersey on and no one was to beat you. You were an All Black and you're not allowed to get beaten by anyone.
For me in those early years, I was just petrified of failing. That fear of failure was a huge motivating factor.
I used to let all that get on top of you, and every time you walked off the field and had a win, it was like, it's relief rather than actually joy of winning.
It's a weight off your shoulders, it's like, I can walk down the street tomorrow because we won.
I was asked a question one day, is it worse? Is it worse than life or death? And I said, no, it's a lot worse than that.
Win and a nation's content. Lose at rugby, not in New Zealand you don't. Not if you're the coach or captain who wants to stay in a job.
Apart from Wales, I think this country is the most fanatical rugby country in the world, and that does put pressure on players, but that's the way of the world and that's the way of New Zealand, and we've just got to deal with it.
I guess the media can be a bit suffocating at times, but we've just got to do it, otherwise people just won't support you, they won't know what's going on.
You need a lot of resilience in this sort of job. You've got to have a lot of perseverance, self-belief, those sort of qualities, otherwise you'd go under.
Guided by Graham Henry, these All Blacks don't lose many. They know what's expected and they're learning to cope with it.
The pressure we put on ourselves to perform is what governs us rather than the outside influences, which, to be quite honest, you can't have any influence over at all.
If you get tied up in things that you can't control, like media expectation, media criticism, etc., etc., then you're not going to play as well as you should do on the Saturday. So it's a matter of controlling your own thought processes, how you prepare and so on, and it takes a pretty mature athlete to do that.
If you have confidence in what you're going to do and confidence that you've done the work to go out and perform, well that's how you get more consistency. If you play on emotion and fears, then one week you will play your best and the next week you won't. You can look at expectation, pressure is a big burden, or you can look at it as just think, hell, I'm obviously the best man to be in this job because I've been picked. If you didn't want to be in the spotlight, then stop playing. That's sort of the way to think about it. It's just the way it is.
Sometimes, though, if just for a moment, even an All Black needs a break, a chance to breathe. Take Carl Heyman.
Just here at Opunaki at the moment, down at the beach. Pretty special place for me, as brought up here and spent a lot of years here when I was younger. It's got that sort of relaxing bit about it, I guess. Yeah, it's just good to get back and to enjoy a bit of the coastline. Doesn't help your performance if you're always feeling the weight on your shoulders of the sort of pressure of the people expecting the All Blacks to win and that sort of stuff. So make life pretty hard if you're always thinking about that. And thought the world was going to end if you lose a game. It was, you know, it'd make life pretty tough. Although that pressure's there, it's something that you just got to wipe out and forget about.
There is always the job, though, and a job that Heyman and his generation are doing well. Very well. Like their rugby forefathers, they are innovative, expert, ruthless and determined. Determined to add a new chapter to an illustrious history.
This is a team where there are no weaknesses, really, and I think that is special.
I love watching the All Blacks, but at the moment they're one of the few teams that I actually pay to go and watch.
It's like a machine, you know, and nothing can stop them.
As long as the team's performing and you're doing your bit within that, then that's what we're after.
It's like a stage, you know, everything you've done up until then is just rehearsal, so when you're on the field, it's your time.
These boys can play, and I enjoy the whole team expressing themselves.
If you've played well, that's where the real satisfaction comes. There's certainly times on a Sunday morning where I ask myself what I'm up to. You're feeling like that and you've come off good, then the other team's probably feeling worse, so that's one way I try and make myself feel better.
Game over. Another All Black victory to add to the record books. A good one too. Everybody goes home happy. Not in New Zealand, they don't.
The All Black performance? Indeed. Mediocre. Very mediocre.
I've seen him play better than that.
Not one player shone.
I would say it was a little boring.
Too many mistakes, too many mishandlings.
We held a bit back, I think. Next week, yeah, 60 at least.
I think we got better as the game went on, which was pleasing. I think we've got a lot to work on as a team. Yeah, so there was an improving performance as the 80 minutes ticked on. We played for 160, we might have been pretty good at the end.
Tonight, though, is a special occasion for one man. Brendan Leonard can now call himself an All Black.
My first one, yep. It's see the All Blacks and the silver fan. Got my name down the bottom there. It's in black as well. And the France Auckland 020607.
You're not going to give that away?
No, I'm going to hold on to it for a long time actually. Yeah.
He's in the club. Part of All Black history. A rich, powerful sporting belief that is handed down through generations. A history that gives an island nation its soul.
The mana that this fern gives us will keep us going forever and a day.
Make a mental note the first time you pull on the All Black jersey. The excitement you have. And every other time you pull it on, recall that feeling.
When I had the All Black jersey, I was the caretaker of it. And now, there's the new generation of All Blacks that are coming through.
You got to pinch yourself and say, you know, it's a pretty special moment to put that jersey on. You never know whether you're going to get to do it next time or not.
It's got a lot of history and, you know, it gives you a real sense of pride.
I want to enjoy my time, you know, look back and say, you know, I gave everything I could while I could.
You got to earn it, you know, and it's only the best earn it.
If you can say when you've left that you've left the jersey in good shape, and I think that's all you can ask.
I think Fergie McCormick said about me once that I treated the All Black jersey as pure gold, and to me that's a good description. It is pure gold.
I don't think one day in my whole life has ever gone by without some reference or mention of the fact that, you know, I was part of that great band of men.
Whether you've played one game or 100 games, you're still an All Black.
I love saying I played for the All Blacks.
We know with all the boys that play rugby in New Zealand, they'll give their right arm to be part of that club. And I was very fortunate, and I was very privileged and very honoured to be part of that. And you know, I'm just glad to be part of it.